thing. And by the sixth book, I told them, like, I don't have anything else to write, so I just start writing Journey lyrics.
I want to talk about how you inscribe things, and specifically, I want to talk about whether or not to inscribe a name on a book when you are signing it for someone. Because I used to do names all the time, and I think at like a con when you're saying what's your name, and you know that's easy. But when you get an order online, here's what I've decided: if you sign the name, it's not necessarily for that person,
right?
But they won't tell you about that, right? How do you manage that?
I asked them. We have set up in our, if you order from our store, if you order that, and that's the only way to get them signed is if you order directly from us. The order is registered, and then we send out an email that says, of course, thank you. First and foremost, thank you for your order. But it does say if you ordered paperbacks, I sign them all, I inscribe them all, and I'll personalize the first book in the series. That's the way I do it, because it just did become. I used to have an inscription for every book in the Apocalypse series, and now it's 7 books, and I would write something unique in each one, and it got to be a bit much. So I sign all the sequels, but then I will personalize the first book. But we ask them, if you'd like it personalized, who should I make it out to? Because a lot of times it is gifts, and a lot of times they are presents, or a lot of times they're like, well, I'm going to read it and then give it to my son or hand it down, stuff like that. So
if they don't respond, do you write it out to their name?
If they don't respond, I just inscribe it, and I don't put a name in it. I don't want to screw that up. Okay. So sometimes they don't see the email. I usually give them a day or two to respond. They usually respond right away if there is something. But there have been some really, really fun requests. So people have some great nicknames, and sometimes they'll want something. I usually just say, like, who am I signing it to, not what do you want in there. But if it's a birthday or if it's something like that, and they let me know, like, I'll write a birthday message, or I'll write something like that in there. But I did get one from a retired dermatologist the other day that wanted a joke about rashes written in the front. So I'm like, okay, I can do that.
And you're like, all right, ChatGPT, give me some jokes about rashes.
Post-apocalyptic rashes. Yes.
What'd you write?
It was something about rashes from the ashes or something like that. There was a poem involved. I put effort into it.
That's very good. That's very good.
Yeah, but I mean, we have it set it up, automated to make sure it's requested, and very rarely have they gone out before someone responded and I have to say sorry, like, especially around like like right now we've got I've got a Dads versus Zombies series that's popular around Father's Day, and a lot of people are ordering it, trying to get it for Father's Day, and I don't want to delay it, or around Christmas and stuff like that. I don't want to delay it getting in the mail if they're not. I'd rather go out signed and not personalized to make sure they have it in time, rather than them be upset about it. So I do include a note in everything I do, though. I have let's see what this one says. And this one, I think, this is one that I didn't get right. So I signed the wrong. I think they ordered a different book, and I went ahead and filled everything out. But like, if you order books from me, I have this is a band from my series, my post-apocalyptic series called Harmageddon, and I have printed several different band flyers, like show flyers.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I'll include one of these, and I'll put a message on each one. So this one is Jeffrey, good luck in the wasteland. And then I realized that Jeffrey ordered Dads. He didn't order the Wasteland book. So this is just sitting on my shelf. But that's a way too. Like, I can leave the book inscribed with no name, but then I can personalize this. So
that's cool.
There's a little bit of personalization to it. So if they get this and they're like, well, it wasn't for me, they can just toss this and still give the books.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good solution. I've defaulted to just not using names anymore. And we'll see if anyone complains about it. It was interesting when I did that inscription video on TikTok and on all the socials recently, where I went through like a few different types of inscriptions that I was writing for Slaughterhouse Run. I got a lot of people who were really excited. One of the types of inscriptions that I gave was the fake spoiler, which I'd never done until I did that video. I was just like scrambling to find like something else to make for the video. And I was like, what about a fake spoiler? Patrick dies on page 101. Patrick is one of the main characters. He doesn't die on page 101. And people loved it so much. I have since then gotten people who have put in orders and have sent their own note to me saying, can you put a fake spoiler in the front of my book?
That's wonderful. That is
so good.
I love hearing that.
Yeah. So no names, but it did make me wonder, like, should I put some sort of system for people to be able to kind of tell me what they want? Like, it's, it does seem like a lot of work, and there is some possibility for kind of, missing things or getting things shipped out before, but also like, it's what a great little notch up in the customer relationship experience,
It's, I talk to a lot of authors that sell directly, and they'll fulfill everything even out of their house. And they've stopped signing books. They've stopped signing everything. And I get it. Like, I'll have a busy week, and I'm, thankfully I'll just be blessed with a busy week and a good week for orders, but man, it turns into a lot of books to sign.
Yeah.
And it can be a bit, but I still insist on doing it. I really do. It's like I think there's something. I think it's worth doing. I think it's a way to show my appreciation for the order. I know it means something to, especially when they're giving as a gift or something like that. I think it really means something to people, and I think it, from a marketing standpoint, I think it is a point of difference. It's, to me, it's worth the effort. Right now, we just talked in will be last week's video about Book Vault, how I fulfill orders overseas, where the books are printed overseas now and shipped directly from them. So it's, the thing that sucks about that is I can't sign them. I'm not there to sign them, and that's kind of the trade-off for decent shipping prices. But as long as I'm doing it here myself, I definitely want to keep doing it, because it is that extra touch that I think people appreciate. Well,
like even the kind of the big published author version of that is, I've been to a lot of live author events for some of my favorite authors where they'll do a reading or, and they'll do a book selling. And some of them will stick around to sign, and some of them won't. And some of them will stick around to sign for like an hour, which is great. And then, they leave a lot of people behind. And some of them will stay for 5 hours until 1 o'clock in the morning. They will sign every single book that every single person in that very large theater brings by. Mm-hmm. And it must be fucking exhausting for them. They must hate that. But they do it. And like, if you're the last person in line, which I have been, in that situation, the fact that he was still around signing books 4 hours later, and it was past midnight, and he was still as, just as gracious as ever and signing things and inscribing it, like that to me was that sealed the deal in terms of like, you're a real one. Like you're a lifer for me.
That's, I think it's certainly admirable. I'll tell you the flip side of that. And I probably told you personally the story before, but I was at a con, and I was got to be in a signing event, and it was in this huge ballroom, and it was just me and one other author. And I think it was the guest of honor. I think it was the literary guest of honor. It was a big deal. And we were both scheduled to be there for an hour. And he showed up, and he had a line, and he went through the line and then left. He was there 20 minutes and took off. I was there for 40 minutes meeting all of his fans that showed up a little later and turning them into my fans. It was it was funny. It was the pandemic. It was an impossibly large ballroom, and I'm sitting on the other end of the room with a mask on. So these poor people had to walk 3/4 of the way across this room just to find out I wasn't the person they were looking for. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, I'm not him. I write too, but yeah, to sit there and sign everything is huge. It means something to people. It means something to me as a fan.
I had someone, I was at C2E2 one year, and I was sitting next to an author who was a great guy and much more popular than I was. And he had a big stream of audiences all day. And on the last day, he left at like noon. He's like, I'm out of here. Like, it's not worth my time to stick around anymore. And 2 hours later, one of the people who had bought one of his books came back because they had forgotten to ask him to sign it. And they were so disappointed that he wasn't there. I mean, they were very sad about it. And I jokingly told them, I was like, I'll sign it if you want. And they were like, actually, that would be awesome. Would you? I was like, yeah, okay, I guess. And so I made it very clear in the inscription that this was not my book and this was supposed to be a joke. But I signed his book, and then she bought like 3 of my books, right? Because there is something about just showing up and being there and giving that personal attention. And as a consumer, I love that too. So it makes total sense.
Yeah. I've told people I'll sign anybody's book, and I'll sign anybody's name. I'm not particular. I'll write down what you want. Just come talk to me. I'm lonely at my table. So, no, but that's fine. I think I'm going to offer it, and I don't charge for it. Obviously, it's like it actually surprises me when I do shows, cons, and stuff like that, and people are like, do you charge extra for autographs? Like, no. Well, no, you're buying my book.
No, I'm not nearly famous enough for that. No, of course I don't.
No, I don't think I could ever see myself doing that. And I'm going to sign them as long as I can. I did. I have, like I said, I used to put a different thing in the front of each sequel, but I had to just dial that back to just I'll sign the sequels. But and it wasn't fair to them. I would run out of things to say. Like I would write in the first book, like, have a great apocalypse, and the second one would be like beware the bears or something. And by the 6th book, I told them, like, I don't have anything else to write, so I just start writing Journey lyrics. So
don't stop believing.
My books do say, Ben, like, break those chains that bind you. Like, that's in there.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm for now committed to doing an inscription to everyone, but I'm hoping it to a point where that's no longer sustainable, but it will be a little piece of my heart gone away when it gets to that point. Because you're right, it's not sustainable to write a full inscription every time. But I think that signature, it takes a while, and your hand might fall off, but it's worth it. I think that little bit is worth it.